I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah. At any rate, folks, I'm talking about Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah. Yeah, there she is.
Thank you.
There she is.
Thank you.
Anna, we're going to be talking about, later on,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking a little bit about weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up. I got I got weight loss questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
So, folks, this podcast,
I've not talked about it at all publicly.
no,
So
as a matter of fact, we've not talked about any of this. And but before we get to that, I want to do a couple of updates. The first update is Anna's been on what you might call a whirlwind tour.
Yeah.
Of the United States, these United States of America. Anna, when you got to those areas, did you go past the blue wall? Did they let you through? How does that work?
They let me through red walls, blue walls, purple walls, sugar walls,
and then there was no wall. Were you able to get around the country okay with
these?
Can
I tell you what? This country's just fine. Everybody's doing great. I went to red states, blue states, purple states.
Yeah.
Cities. Yeah. Countryside, suburbs. I went all over the past 2 weeks, all over the place.
People are happy, Anna. But you see, here's the deal.
They're happy when I see them. Yeah,
that's because you show up with goodies.
Yeah.
So you might be the person this country needs. Anyone else?
I definitely am not the person this country needs.
Anna,
but I'll have a good time.
Hear me out.
I'll bring the fun. That's for sure.
Anna, just hear me out for a second.
Okay.
I saw a thing on the Twitter sphere, the X, like the Insta chat. All right. So I'm watching something. I don't know where I saw it, but I see a thing and it says some people are not inviting their siblings or parents over for Thanksgiving because of the election. Yeah. And this is kind of where, I don't do politics on the show, but this is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, folks, this is America. Everybody gets to make a choice. Everybody gets, you want to vote for one guy, that's good. You want to vote for the other guy, that's good too. But you know what? Get your shit together, because the one thing that the people who are going to be there for you at the end is going to be your loved ones and your relatives. And I'm not just talking about your relatives, the blood relatives, because they say you could pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. Yeah. All the stuff with friendships and the whole thing. Respect your friends, right? I don't care which side you're on. Everybody's got to pull their shit together. Now, the best way to do that is with Eat Happy sauce, because obviously showed up in this country. People were like happy, right? You didn't see anyone crying or screaming like I saw on the internet. No,
not at all.
No, people.
Not at all. And I meet the widest variety of humans. I'll be honest with you. A very wide variety. All creeds, colors, genders, all of them. Bring them on.
What's it like, Anna, when you show up with a sauce and everybody wants it? How does that work?
Let me put it to you this way. When we were at the Chicago bookstore a few nights ago, shout out to Rick and Melody who took us out to dinner. Thank you guys. Rick's doing great, by the way. And Saxinger. Yep. And by the way, he told me I said his name correctly. So I don't know.
It's not Saxinger. It's Saxinger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, can we do an update on him? Can you write to him later on in the show and ask him if we could do a little?
If we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, listen, so here's what I did, because I was in Chicago and I had not been to Fresh Time yet. So we're in all 70 Fresh Time stores and it's new. And I haven't had a chance to go to those stores because we don't have them in California. And I love this store. It's giving Sprouts. It's giving like very organized farmers market. And I really love it. And we're on a planogram, which means we're in the same place in every Fresh Time and all the locations, which is a blessing, because so many of these chains, they don't have planograms and you don't know where am I going to be in the natural food section? Or are we going to be in the pasta sauce section? So it's just really nice to be able to tell people, go to pasta sauce and get the things.
Right.
So I'm doing shelf checks. And then I think to myself, well, why don't I buy sauce for everybody who comes to this book event? I'm going to buy sauce and bring it with me to the book event and then give them, everybody gets free sauce. And you guys, it was a Tuesday night on 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and it was freezing in Chicago. And basically there were 5 of us plus me and Kelly. And guess what? Guess who got a lot of free sauce? Rick, Melody, Vicky, and her boyfriend. I can't remember his name right now. He's so cute. And Alex, who's been on the show, the one who's made every single recipe that I've done. Everybody got extra sauce. And then everyone who worked at the bookstore kept coming over. And the people who weren't even there, they were just there to shop. They kept coming over and they wanted the sauce. And I was like, well, I have extra sauce. So why don't you, if somebody buys a book, give them a jar. You guys take home jars. And let me tell you what, you give a jar of sauce to people, you're going to hear the whole life story. It was amazing. People want the sauce.
And it's kind of like, I can't remember which politician ran on the you know how everyone's got their little phrase. It was like a chicken in every pot. I can't remember.
It was actually a French king. It was Henry IV who said "un poule en pot," which means a chicken in every pot.
Yeah,
and that's been since used many times by politicians.
Well, you know what? I think we should change it.
Yeah, say a sauce in every pot.
Yeah, Anna Vocino's gravy in every pot. Now, I know it doesn't roll off of the tongue the way a chicken in every pot.
Sauce en pot.
Yeah.
Sauce in every pot.
We can work it. But yeah, sauce in every pot. I mean,
I agree.
I did a thing. Did we put it up yet? I don't think Debbie put it up yet. It might go up tomorrow, which is before this podcast goes up. You want me to show you a picture of it if you think I'm kidding, Anna?
What did you do? Did you cook something?
Oh, you damn right we did.
Was Serena helping?
No, Serena did all the cooking. I just happened.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I just happened to be traipsing through the kitchen at the time, and sometimes I get excited when I see a woman cooking.
Yeah,
that's my love language right there. Right, I'm Italian.
Ladies, you want to get your man? Cook for him. Men, you want to get laid? Cook for them. I'm telling you, it works both ways.
You're going to hear it probably through. Well, no, you're not here. You see what's doing here?
Balls.
You see what's doing? That's meatballs right there.
Sizzling in the pan.
You see what she's doing?
That's a thing of beauty. Those are nice round balls.
Oh, yeah.
Vinnie, your woman's got you some good balls.
She knows how to work the balls. Now, then this is just a photo of the mozzarella with the Vocino. You see what's doing there?
That looks so good.
You see what's doing?
I'm hungry right now.
I know. Wait, let me show you some more. You see what's doing here? Yeah. I got Debbie. We're going to put this together. You see what's in the background there?
Yeah.
You see what?
That's is that the marinara or the spicy?
It's a marinara. Well, actually, this is a marinara and an arrabbiata because for the photo we had already used the two.
Right.
That we used. So we had to fake it there a little bit. And this is she did it with hearts of palm noodles.
Yum.
That's hers. I don't need that crap. I don't need a stomach ache. I just ate the meatballs. Now I got to tell you, we made so many of them that they sat in the fridge for 2 days, and this morning for breakfast, it was sacrilege, but somehow we were out of eggs. There was a mix-up between me and Serena.
Someone was not on their game.
And Serena thought I was picking them up. Mm-hmm. I thought she was picking them up. And last night at around 11 p.m., I looked in the fridge and went, oh, no, there's only one egg left. Oh, my goodness. Because, I eat about 5 or 6, every morning. And so I went, what am I going to do? Do I run out? Do I run to the teat? To Harris Teeter. Yeah. What do I do? Mm-hmm. And then I looked and I saw that little glass bowl in there with that Anna Vocino puttanesca.
I've been known to eat a cold ball for breakfast.
Oh no, they weren't cold. I did.
You heated them up. I like them cold.
I just threw them in the pot and I added a little water. Right, just a little bit to mix it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. There was still a bunch of mozzarella in there and everything else. I ate that breakfast. There was probably 3/4 of a pound, maybe a pound of meat in there. I ate it all up.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
That
Folks,
sounds great.
listen, I'm not trying to turn this into an infomercial for Anna, but
That's all we do is infomercials these
yeah.
days, right?
Um, how was your trip? You were
It
everywhere.
was great. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
thank you to everybody who came out, whether it was a light night or a heavy night. I got to do Good Day Atlanta and make some chicken parm and do all that on TV. And then I got to do Watch What Happens Live behind the bar, and Andy Cohen actually spoke to me. So I wasn't expecting to get to talk. So that was a nice treat to get to speak.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
it happened to be a night. So here's the thing. So I'm a Bravo super fan. We know this. And it would happen to be the night for Real Housewives of Salt Lake, which is Wednesday night. And I purposely, when they said, do you want to do this time slot or this time slot? I knew the 10 p.m. time slot would mean that I would be live with one of my favorite housewives. And sure enough, I was with Whitney Wild Rose. If you know, you know. And it happened to just be that one of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, Lisa Barlow, who's oft giving the villain edit, said in the episode that she hates Italian food because it's too fresh.
Why?
And then we followed that. And so Andy got to say, Lisa Barlow said Italian food's too fresh. And I was like, well, dispiace Lisa Barlow, she's wrong. And I guess I'm in a public feud with a housewife now. So that's good on me.
Well,
so my trip was a success.
That's always good. All right.
Yeah.
So Anna, when I saw the thing with Andy Cohen, I didn't see you on television. I saw it on the Instagram.
If you don't watch Bravo, it's not worth watching. But if you watch Bravo, you watch that show, and he always has a guest bartender, and it's a nice little way to plug your stuff. And it was really nice that he booked me on it.
Right. But here's the thing. I thought when I saw it, I went, oh, this is Kurt or someone doing a meme.
Because you thought it was edited.
And then I saw that it was by you, like you had put it out. And I went, oh, this is real.
Oh, are you talking about the little step and repeat photo with me and the housewife and the actress?
Yeah, that was something like that. It was like you and some celebs there. And I was like, yeah, that's Kurt, because Kurt puts me with Tony the Tiger and that kind of thing,
Right. You thought someone was doing a Photoshop.
Yeah, I said, man, Kurt really got this one done, right? Like, wow, this looks more real than Kurt.
Kurt magically did something right.
Yeah, it's like, how did this guy's in North Dakota? I mean,
they don't know how to turn on a computer there, do they?
Yeah, they only have short buses there. I mean, that's the they don't. I don't know what they do there.
Sorry to our tens of listeners in the Dakotas.
Yeah, I didn't mean to upset all two of you. So, now I think we have three listeners. We have Kurt, we have his wife,
and his hairless cat.
And I think his brother might be a listener.
Okay, that's good.
His brother owns the gym in town.
Oh,
yeah. And by the way, I'm going to hand out a bunch of compliments tonight. Kurt,
you're feeling magnanimous. I enjoy it.
I am. Kurt is looking good.
He is.
Kurt is. You know what? This is going to be the year of the muscle. I spoke to the Chinese government. This is the year of the muscle. So
you got them to rebrand it, the whole astrology.
Yeah. Because I'm putting on muscle right now.
Me too.
That's my new thing for the new year, to start putting on muscle. I won't rest until someone says, I think he's on gear. I think he's due. I want people to think that, because people used to think that of me. That's the highest compliment, when you've never done a steroid and people think you've done steroids.
Yeah.
That's the highest.
That is yeah, that's true.
And the one thing I know about myself is that I have, thank Marie and Cy, I have good genetics, both sides. I come from peasant stock. That usually leads to good genetics. And I look at me and I look at my younger brother, Mark. I took it in one direction and he went in the other. The road less traveled. Mark went down the road with everyone else. He's got Cushing's disease. He's got fatty liver disease. He's got a stent. He weighs, when he loses weight, he gets down to 310.
He's really going through it.
Yeah, he's got it all. Love him to death. We talk almost daily. And he's one of the reasons I get so angry about all of this.
Right.
But I took the road less traveled and went in an opposite direction. And that road didn't just have a fork in it. It was juxtaposed by 90 degrees. So it's 180 degrees apart, 90 and 90. We went in different directions. We have the same body style, same body type. He, in high school, when he was playing high school ball, looked like the statue of David. I kid you
Yeah,
not.
I'm sure.
And to look at him now, you would go, okay, that guy has never run a minute and has like never done anything.
Mm-hmm.
He was a much better football player than me. I'll say that. But you know, it just goes to show you, Mark is enjoying his life. As a matter of fact, he'll tell his wife, I want pasta every night this week, and do not dare try to bring any of that gluten-free shit in my house. Those are words he will say.
Okay.
He does not make any bones about who he is.
So I'm not going to be invited to Thanksgiving at his house.
No. No, he will respect, like if you're gluten-free, you know, that's the good thing about Mark. He respects me, he respects you, he respects everyone. But what he wants,
he doesn't want to eat it.
Yeah, he is just, he's committed to it. And you know they say, when you're a jet all the way.
From your first cigarette to your last dying day.
And that's Mark. And I love him and I have to respect that. Right. But to go, wow, you know, I want to take my body in the complete opposite direction. I wasn't happy. Now I get it. I was on chemo and I had leukemia again. I get it. I couldn't do 4 push-ups. I did 4 push-ups that day. Yep. Couldn't do a 5th one.
Yep. And you're saying that you couldn't do 4 push-ups on the day that you had your final infusion.
I don't know when it was. No, I'd had it was about a week or 2 after my final infusion when it really starts to drag you down. Like this shit is just dragging your ass down. It was maybe a week after. And you know, I was stretching every day to try to feel good and to move around, and I was getting on my bike and just spinning. I looked like an old man. I'm not trying to be anything other than giving you a visual. Mm-hmm. Think of if you put Joe Biden on a bicycle, on a stationary bike.
Yeah, just you were stiff in your movements. You couldn't.
I
didn't have any sort of limberness or.
I couldn't do it.
Well, you know what? Funny that you say that. That was my biggest complaint about that movie, The Irishman, when they younged up their faces, but their bodies still moved like old men. And it's like, you could see the difference between how when we get stiff and we move and, you know.
Going downstairs, I was always worried because I have 2 flights of stairs in my house, right? I have them going upstairs and I have a downstairs. So I worried, like I held on like an old person on the railing.
Yeah, you don't want to fall down the stairs, my God.
Because, and at that, I tripped a couple of times. I was in bad shape.
Yep.
And when I got to Mammoth, you know, I was still, I was not clear yet, but I went there with my buddy Dan. Dan's been through cancer a couple of times, and he's an awesome athlete and the whole thing. And we're the same age. And I'm looking at Dan, and I'm looking at me, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going down this road. Dan does aerobics like there's no tomorrow. He's a streaker. He does rowing machine every single day. He doesn't do anything else. And I'm looking at Dan's body going, Dan needs to put muscle on. Oh, by the way, Vinnie, you need to put muscle on.
Yeah.
Right. And Dan will tell you, we drove around Mammoth because the gyms I used to go to back when I used to go skiing, that place closed and another place closed. And Dan found one on his phone. It was a box. It was a CrossFit gym. And I got the owner on the phone and I said, hey, I know you only do classes in there. Can you open it up for me? Right. And I paid him some money and he came and met me. And then he Googled me and he goes, oh my God, here's the key. Just come every day. He was very gracious. And I really appreciate that, man. That's how I figured out I like the Rogue Echo bike. And I have one now. Right.
Because you used it at his gym.
I could barely use it.
Yeah.
I was lifting, I was doing bench press and with the bar and a 10 on each side.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where I was.
That's good that you say that because I need to talk to Lauren because he's real upset. He's real upset.
I'll talk to him. Not tonight because there's a football game, but I will talk to him tomorrow or Saturday. No problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
He's upset too about his golf. So he's like, my golf swing is not going to be, his handicap is ridiculous.
Yeah. Maybe he can give me some golf tips. I keep thinking.
Definitely could. He takes people out and coaches them. It's awesome.
Yeah, I
He's a
haven't
very
done
good
it in years and
swing
years and
coach.
years, and but I don't have time for golf right now. I'm trying to build, maybe in a year or so when I get the company back where it is. And no, I'm not going to join some country club. There's a couple of public courses near me.
There's great muni courses. You don't need to join a country club.
Tiny bag. I don't need to go to big bag and just go out because I played as a kid.
Yeah.
I played until I was 18, and it was just another sport that I was in. At any rate, yeah, I had to meet myself where I was.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm looking at me. I'm looking at Dan. It's like, I want to put on muscle. And I know what my genetics are. I know what I used to be able to do. No, I'm not going to try to be a 400-pound bencher anymore. That'll never happen. But I do know that I can do a lot better than I'm doing. And instead of just chronically doing aerobics next year, I'm going to be doing more of that. I also want to get my VO2 max up a bit. I do a lot of zone 2, and I'm going to keep doing my zone 2. I'm going to keep that base. But I'm working on doing once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on the week. I'm going to do either on my rowing machine or my bike or on the track outside when spring comes. I'm going to do some ups, as what we used to call them, some where, steady state, go right to lactic acid threshold, anaerobic threshold, and then bring it down, go into.
So like high intensity interval training would that be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, high intensity interval training is what the kids call it. I hit, but I'm doing it not like some class where they do all kinds of weird shit.
Right. Where they just fatigue you and you want to die. Yeah.
I know how to do it. I've been doing this for people for years. And if anyone wants to learn how to do this stuff,
you should do videos on it. Please do videos on it.
I may do a few videos, and if people
would love to see that.
Yeah, people like to do consults. So I'll do the consults and that kind of thing. But at any rate, that's where I am. Anna,
I'm building muscle too.
Yeah. You really are?
No, I really am.
You want to talk about it? Because I have. Can you hang on to that table? You building muscle right now? I want to ask you about your trip because I noticed a bunch of times you were flying around and people have been talking to me about, hey, when I fly, there's nothing to eat. Yeah, there is nothing to eat on the planes unless you're in first class going to Europe. Good luck getting anything to eat other than shit. They're going to hand you shit, and then they're going to hand you a shit cracker to put the shit between. You're not going to get anything good on a plane. No. And if you can't go 3 or 4 hours, going from coast to coast, I used to go back and forth all the time. That's a 5 hour. If you can't make it 5 hours, there's a different problem we have to address.
Right.
But you flew a lot. Anything?
7 flights in 14 days. I mean, I fly a lot all the time. And I also have it dialed in because I now live 2 hours north of LAX. So if I want to not have to do a connection, I need to schlep down to LAX to do my driving so I can fly direct.
Right.
And, there's just more options flying out of that airport. So I have to have it dialed in for, that I have the coffee at the right time, that I have go to, like I want to go to the bathroom at the right time. I want to eat the right thing. I want to not ever be tempted to be like, well, I'm going to have some fries or something like that, which I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this so long. I'm not tempted for things like that. Here's the thing. I've traveled so much. I am so used to having cream in the coffee tide me over until I can either get an egg or bacon. It's pretty easy at the airport to get plain egg and bacon. You can do it.
Yeah.
Like the worst case scenario is that there's a McDonald's and they will give you a couple sausage patties for $2 each.
Or you can get, if you're stuck at a McDonald's, the one thing that's always cooked fresh at every McDonald's, even airports, are the quarter pounders.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about if you're in the morning, they don't have a quarter pounder meat.
Right. Yeah, you can end up with that, or you can walk in. Usually the bars. If you go to a bar early in the morning, they will serve breakfast.
They'll serve your burger. They'll do eggs and bacon, or sausage and eggs, or just sometimes I just want the meat. I don't want to have an egg. So, because sometimes the eggs, I don't know. They're cooked in seed oils and I don't want it.
I
So
always just eat before I leave. Like if I know I'm
sure.
traveling and when we were in LA, you would have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I would just boil a shit ton of eggs the night before, eat 3 or 4 or 5 of them before I left the house, maybe 1 or 2 to the airport, because some Uber guy's got to smell you eating eggs, but who cares?
Well, you have to smell the Uber guy, so it works both ways.
Yeah. In
I
LA.
smelled a lot of cologne and a lot of cabs this trip.
But look, the bottom line is, when you're traveling around, you could do that in the morning at 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm good until nighttime.
You just have to plan. And for me, I was gone for I was only home for 1 day over 2 weeks. So, that eventually you're just going to stop planning. And you're like, I'm done. As long as I have clean underwear, I'm good to go. Like this, I can find, let me put it this way. I've never gone hungry. Okay. I've never in my life not found something to eat. And I'm somebody who has dietary restrictions, but also chooses to not have sugars and grains. And I've never gone hungry. So I think there's a little bit of like, we need to reset our jets, like our belief systems too. It's like, no, you can find stuff to eat. You know what I discovered at the Atlanta airport the day we flew from Atlanta to New York? Wendy's has a breakfast baconator. So it's basically the patties. Well, the Baconator is just the patties.
I haven't eaten
bacon
Wendy's since I left New Orleans, and that was like
I like the Wendy's Baconator because they'll give it to you on the thing without any condiments. So it's just patties, cheese, and bacon, and it's a great way to get full. And you will not think about food for another 6 hours. They have the breakfast Baconator now. And you could just you tell them no biscuit or bun or muffin or whatever, and they put it in the tray and they don't put the condiments on it. So you don't have to deal with the ketchup and the sweet mayo,
Right.
So I had that morning in New York, and then I didn't have anything until we ate dinner at a 7:45 reservation, and I was fine. So,
I got to start telling that to people. Is Wendy's real meat? Kind of like,
I hope so. I don't know. It's not that I have it that often, but if I see a Wendy's, I go, oh, I can do that.
What about? I remember one time, like literally college. I think it was the last time I had Wendy's, and someone said, "Hey, get the Wendy's." It was like a dairy kind of product. I don't know what they called it.
Oh, the Frosty.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And I remember we were in New Orleans and it was hot. And I remember taking a bite and it wasn't even that cold. It was like, how's this staying frozen?
It is supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be a soft serve, but.
Right. But it wasn't. I mean, there's got to be. And it tasted like chemicals to me. It was like.
Yeah, it does taste like chemicals.
It's not chocolate. It's not malted flavor. It's not vanilla.
No.
I don't know what this is.
It's actually what they use to enhance the chocolate flavor so they don't have to spend money on chocolate is coconut. And years ago, like decades ago, I remember telling somebody like, this doesn't taste chocolatey. It tastes like I'm eating coconut something. And then I found out it's because they put coconut flavoring in to enhance the chocolate so they don't have to spend as much money because chocolate's more expensive than coconut. And that's why it tastes chemically. But I haven't had one.
Can you imagine, I'm thinking back almost 40 years and I'm still remembering tasting this going, does anyone want this? Because I'm not taking another bite. I took 2 scoops because the first scoop I wasn't convinced as to how bad it was. And then I took a second scoop and I went, I don't understand how anyone can eat this shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it looked good in the thing. It was all swirled up and everything. But boy, it was bad.
So I want to get back to real quick too, like staying with people is an interesting thing. I always, if you didn't rent your own car, you can ask to borrow a car, but I always try to pop over to some sort of grocery store and get my own coffee and cream because not everybody has the same tastes in coffee. Let me put it that way. Not trying to be disrespectful, but I like a good coffee and I like real cream. And it's honestly not a lot of households in America eat the way that we eat. Let's be honest.
Right.
So when you're staying with friends and these are friends who know my work, they know my cookbooks. In fact, it's my bestest friend in the world. And she's helping me with the whole reason the Good Day Atlanta thing even happens because she's helping me with food prep and helping me with the whole thing. Cause you have to show up with all the dishes already made and yada, yada. And even then, her husband was making a bolognese for dinner one of the nights. And he texted me from the grocery store. He's like, what kind of gluten-free pasta do you like? And I was like, you don't have to get it. I'm good. I don't want it. Like, I'm going to eat your bolognese. If there's like a vegetable, I might heat that up. But then I wound up being at the store anyway and found a few zucchini noodles and just heated them up and put the bolognese on that. But I could have just eaten it's bolognese. It's meat. It's red sauce. It's got vegetables in it. It's great.
It's already a meal.
It's already a meal, but that's kind of like, but to not serve it with pasta feels crazy to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who don't eat the way that we eat. So you just kind of get ahead of it. And again, I've never gone hungry. If I needed to, and for whatever reason, I could root around in my friend's fridge and find some cheese and some lunch meats and I would be fine. Or I could run to the store and get that stuff. I also went to places like Chicago, New York, and Atlanta. And when you're in cities, even in the suburbs, it's fine. You can find things to eat. It's just about planning. And I think for me, avoiding overdoing things like nuts, like don't get a giant thing of almonds and then just mow on that until, 32 ounces of almonds is gone. And you've eaten the whole thing and you wonder why you have an upset stomach. Like just a lot of airports now too have a cold section with individually wrapped hard-boiled eggs. I was shocked.
I've seen that.
I tell you.
Yeah, I've seen that. You could get that.
It's happening. It's just slowly happening.
Yeah, and it's coming around. So, Anna, can you tell the story about
TSA?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. Okay, so I have to deliver grocery cases often, especially around here, to my grocery stores who order pasta sauces directly and spices directly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have my friend got this little switchblade from Texas, and then he gave it to me because I was complaining about how I have to jam my keys in these boxes. He's like, oh, I have an extra blade. You can borrow it or have it or whatever. Like he just gave it to me. He got all these knives from this knife maker in North Texas. And I was like, okay, cool. That's so nice. And I've had it in my purse and I forget it's in there. And usually I'll remember before I take a trip and I'll throw it in my suitcase because you can check it in the suitcase.
Right. You just can't have it on the.
You can't take it through the security line.
Yeah.
And I get stopped almost every single time for my microphone. So I thought they were stopping me for my microphone. And honestly, my microphone, not this one, this is a podcast mic, but the mic I use in the studio, it's called a shotgun mic. So it looks suspect. I get it. And I'm used to being stopped for 20 years every single time. They're like, I told my girlfriend, I said, go ahead. She came with me to Chicago. I said, Kelly, you go ahead, go get us burger patties and I'll meet you over there. And so she left. And this is Santa Barbara Airport. I did not go through LAX for this trip, this particular leg of the trip. And they pulled out my purse and I was like, oh, I wonder if I left a little, how they give you the tiny bottles of water on the airplane. I bet I shoved one of those in my purse.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out the thing and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And he opens it up and he's like, because it's a switchblade.
Yeah, he's playing with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, ma'am, you can't have this. And I was like, I understand that. And I own a pasta sauce company. I load boxes and I use that and I just inadvertently left it in my purse. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And they're like,
right?
Yeah, they're like, do you know it's illegal to have a switchblade in the state of California?
Yeah.
And I went, no, I did not know that.
That's one of the states. I didn't realize it was one of the states because there's half a dozen states it's illegal.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about knives. I was just like, my friend gave me a cool knife and I use it to open things.
I never understood why the switchblade is illegal. It's just a different way of getting the blade out, right?
I don't know if it's just because it's so sudden, people can hurt themselves. But I'm telling you, this is a small switchblade.
Yeah, tell me who was cool about it.
He was fine, and he was like, "Oh, we have to," and they call everybody over. Everyone comes over, the head of the thing, and then this guy was like, "We have to call law enforcement because you have an illegal blade in the state of California." And I was like,
"Gotta be fucking me."
I am not kidding you.
You're like a little old lady and you're
I'm like, okay. And I was just very calm and and this is the other thing. So Kelly apparently is texting me and calling me like, where are you? Where are you? I'm going to order us burgers. Are you coming? Is everything okay? And she thought maybe I had maybe they said I couldn't take my mic and I had to run it down and get my bag back and check it in my bag or whatever. So she wasn't that worried about it, even though it was her boyfriend who was originally, or husband now, who originally gave me the knife.
Right.
But so they called the police.
He could have easily just let that go.
Yes. They called the police. And this is what it was. He had the phone and he's like, yeah, we have a perp. Like, they called me a perp. I was like, all right. No, noted. And she's wearing, black leggings. And she's like, and I was like, describing me, I was like, he better not say a number of weight that he thinks I am. I will kill this guy. And, saying that she's got dark brown hair and dark brown eyes and the whole thing. And I hear a voice and I look, because we're in Santa Barbara Airport. It's smaller than Burbank Airport.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny. And I hear a voice and I turn and I look and he's calling the law enforcement. He's calling the police is 15 feet away and a little podium overlooking the whole thing. You could have just walked over or walked me over there.
You found the Barney Fife.
So he comes over. And he was like, oh, yeah, ma'am, switchblades are illegal in the state of California. I was like, okay, noted. I go, are you going to arrest me? And he's like, well, hold on. And I was like, okay. And then they showed him and then they took a ruler out.
Yeah, the 3-inch. Yeah, was it less than
2 inches? So, and this thing is exactly 2 inches. So they called it under 2 inches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he goes, and then he basically was like, I don't care. Whatever they need to do, they need to do. And he walks away. But don't worry, Vinny. I was there for another 30 minutes. For them to write up everything. And they're like, are you going to remand? They kept asking me, are you going to remand it? And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try to take it with me. Like, just take it. I don't care. I'll get another one. Like, it just became such a thing. So now I am under investigation by the TSA.
Yeah.
And whatever they decide is the end of their investigation, I have to accept. So just so you know, I'm a danger to society.
Anna,
and you can have a switchblade in the state of California as long as it's 2 inches or shorter.
All right. So I think you know this story about me. Like, there was 40 some odd times that I flew in a row where I got stopped every time and got more than just I got the big pat down and they would pull me out of line and the whole thing. So I was good friends, still am good friends with this woman. I'll say her first name, Mary Ellen. She listens to the podcast and she works for Homeland Security in Washington.
Well, maybe I might need to call in a favor.
She's not there anymore. And she was under Obama's administration. So good luck. So I was having dinner. Serena and I was having dinner with Mary Ellen one night. I said, Mary, every time I go through, every single time, I said, I'm not being paranoid. Serena will tell you, I used to travel with Andy Schreiber worldwide. I would always be selected out of line, pulled out of line, the whole thing. Is there something in a code somewhere on that ticket or when I go through or something? She goes, before I can even finish asking that question, she goes, yep, you're on the list. I said, do you know I'm on the list? She goes, no. If you're getting, Serena, she looked at Serena every single time. Serena goes, he's not exaggerating every time. At first, Serena thought it was like, well, you never smile. You look swarthy, and the whole thing. I said, she goes, but every time. She goes, yeah, you're on the list. And I said, okay, how did I get on the list? She goes, anything can get you on that list. If you ever traveled without luggage, you can end up on that list. That's possible. We could have just had it. Serena and I packed and she put luggage in and my name didn't have luggage. She goes, have you ever taken a one-way trip?
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. I've driven to Louisiana and driven cars back.
Yeah.
And she goes, something like that can get you on that list.
Or you don't know when you're going to come back and you just want to book what you want to get there.
Well, once you get there, if you have a one-way ticket, that's one thing. If they see you flying somewhere else, you're good. But if you have a one-way ticket and they never see you coming back, at some point it trick. There's several ways you could get on that TSA list, on that government like a watch.
I've flown
list.
places and then taken the train to another place, and then absolutely, I do that all the time.
So she goes, yeah, something you did somewhere. It was probably nothing nefarious. You just did something innocently that got you on that list. You triggered, or 2 or 3 things you did in a row got you on that list.
Guess who's on the list?
Well, hang on, Anna. And I said, is there a way to get off of the list? She says, it's going to take some time, but I'll see if I can help you and, blow a few calls in and see why you're on the list or whatever. Well, before that can happen, for the audience, I shoot skeet competitively.
Oh, no.
And when you shoot skeet competitively, in order to make it affordable for a guy like me who does not have a lot of money, you have to you have to reload shells. And it's better for, ecologically, it's better for the planet and the whole thing. So I'm always loading ammunition. And I have certain bags that I take to the range. And if I need a bag to travel with, I will take that bag on the plane. I'll just empty out all the range stuff. And, well, gunpowder is a little something you call TNT, nitrogen. And one day they pull me out of line after I already know I'm on the list. And hey, hey, pal, we're just doing it. We're picking you out of line. There's people in the turnstile at LAX going back and forth. They just happened to pick the 80th person in line. And it was me. I know what they're doing. Come on over here. We're just going to do a quick check on you. And they do the hand swab and they put it in the thing. It's like, me. And it's like, oh, shit. Oh, boy. There's nothing but gunpowder all over this bag. They're checking my hands. Now they're checking the bag. It's lighting up like a Christmas tree. Oh, I get like security comes in.
Yeah, I bet.
And they don't handcuff me, but they got 4 people around me and they walk me not behind some little screen right there at TSA. They're walking me to an office. Like they're walking me. I'm doing the perp walk.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't have anything on you because they've taken all your stuff.
Oh, I'm like, hey, can I have my wallet back, sir?
Nope.
No, nothing. You're
that to me felt the most alarming. I was like, oh, can I have my phone?
My wallet? And
they were like, no.
Yeah, so they take me back, and I went, I might miss my flight. My wife, and they was like, we don't care. Your day is over with, pal. You're done. Your day's, and I'm like, what did I do? They won't tell me. I know what I've done. I know that there's powder everywhere, but they're not telling me that. I get like muckety mucks coming in and talking to me, and they finally figured out, wait, this guy, sir, why do you have gunpowder? Where the gun? I explained to the guy, and I think the guy happened to understand, oh, wait, yeah, these guys do that. Because I wasn't mincing words. He was like, how did gunpowder end up on this bag? It's like, well, I load a lot of ammunition. Why are you loading ammunition? I'm a skeet shooter and a trap shooter. Okay. Do you ever buy new ammunition? Yeah, when it's cheap enough, but I can't afford to I shoot a lot. I compete. I said, you can look me up. I'm in the NSSA. I belong to the National Skeet Association.
Yeah.
And they did. They were like looking up everything and the whole thing. And they let me go at the last second to get on that flight. But yeah, they thought that they had caught Osama bin Laden's first cousin. Yeah.
Well, it was an experience, and I was like, well, I'm also like, but I don't want to lose my pre-check. Pre-check, because I travel so much. Pre-check is life, but
yeah,
if it happens, it happens.
I have a question. Well, yeah, I do Villa Cappelli, and then I have a question. I want to save this other thing we were going to talk about tonight because we're going to end up on this weight loss thing. And there's something else I'm going to circle. I'm going to give it to you at the end. Villa Cappelli, folks. Villa Cappelli is the best olive oil on planet Earth. Now, why am I saying that? Well, because they pay me. But guess what? They were paying, before they paid me and Anna one dime, we used to talk about this oil. That's how they became a sponsor. We would just brag about this oil without a paycheck. That's how dumb we are.
That's true.
But we would just talk about how good the stuff was, and we started selling them out in the United States. And guess what? We still do sell Villa Cappelli. They are sold out all the time because of us. But hey, they're in stock right now, so you want to go get it. Most olive oils in the United States is cut, sometimes up to 40%. That's the legal amount. You could cut it up to 40%. And still call it 100% pure olive oil. What do you think they're cutting with, Anna? You think they're putting like a better oil in there to make it taste better?
Do you know what I learned?
Go on.
Do you know what I learned?
Go on.
Unless the ingredient list says extra virgin olive oil, if it says olive oil, it is, let's say 99% cut with a seed oil.
Yeah.
So there's sauce brands that just say olive oil and not extra virgin olive oil. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Just
You got to be careful out there.
Yeah.
But if you want,
is real.
You want to get the good stuff, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the Villa Cappelli ad, or just go straight to VillaCappelli.com. When you get there, put in promo code Vinnie at checkout. You're going to save 10%. Now, Anna, let's help them cheat. Let's help the audience.
Yeah, I love a cheat code.
Yeah,
I'm a gamer. I get a cheat code.
Yeah. So,
what do you want your cart size to be, like 145?
Yeah,
let me look. Wait, let me look and see what the threshold is of the free shipping.
Yeah, you get free shipping after a certain
$125.
Okay, so if you spend 140, that's minus 14, you'll be at 126.
Perfect.
And so you'll get free shipping.
Yeah.
Boom. So you can save on shipping. That's a ton of money, and 10% off.
Yeah.
And you go, well, wait, Vin, I got to buy $140 worth of olive oil. Look, you could get yourself a 750 milliliter tin of it, and then just go buy other stuff. They got herbs. They got everything else.
I didn't know they had all these different kind of pestos. These are awesome. I'm ordering those.
And it's all made with Villa Cappelli olive oil. It's not oil pesto.
All of their products are good. And they have like good salts and seasonings too.
I'm going to get the pesto because I love pesto.
They have regular pesto, zucchini pesto, and eggplant pesto, which I would imagine tastes like a caponat.
Probably. Yeah. So go check out Villa Cappelli. Let them know we sent you. Anna, I said something to you before the mics went hot today.
Do you want to address that now, or do you want to wait till next week?
I want to address it now because we told people we would talk about weight loss.
Okay.
And
well, then I'll make it brief, and then maybe I'll think about how to expound because I'm going to get questions.
Okay. That's fair enough. So I noticed a couple of weeks ago, because Anna was putting a lot of stuff online, I would see her stuff on Meta, and I was like, is it just me, or is Anna Vocino looking kind of hot? What's going on over there? She's losing weight, right? And Anna's always had trouble losing weight. She's not morbidly obese by any stretch. She's just always kept a few extra pounds on her. And I was like, Anna's doing something different, right? There's something going on here. And then my good friend, one Mr. Don Coddington.
It's the billionaire Don Coddington's Friday, 5 o'clock.
Don just happened to say to me, he goes, hey, man, Anna Vocino stuff pops up on my thing. I'm like, yeah, she's out there selling a lot of sauce to the grocery stores or whatever. He goes, did she lose a lot of weight? I was like, Don, I've been thinking the same thing. Anna is up to something.
Anna's up to something.
Yeah. And Anna, look, in the interest of being honest, I was like, you think she's taking the Ozempic? Is she on the shot? Because you've lost.
You don't know me at all.
Anna. That's a compliment. You've lost some weight. There's a big weight loss here, and I hope I'm not embarrassing you. I don't want to know how much you lost. I'm not going to ask. But
I don't want to assign any numbers or say anything, because here's the deal. You and I have been doing this for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the course of living a life of where I was 12 years ago versus now, my body's gone through a lot of changes. And so it's not that I don't want to talk about it, because I do, But there's a part of me that's like, the reason why I want to talk about it and why I said it was okay to bring it up on the air is because I know that at this phase in life where I was perimenopausal, and then I had a surgical menopause, which means I had a full hysterectomy, including the ovaries, on January 5th of this year. And I have been through the ringer physically, hormonally, and it's not been an easy adjustment. And my weight has fluctuated so much that I really put my nose to the grindstone, in summer, and took a long time to do it. But I hope that somebody listening out there will do the same thing. I had to get really serious with myself. And when I say that, I mean, I've never particularly been a big eater as far as portions go. Like, I've watched people who weigh much less than me scarf down way more. And even my husband, he constantly comments on it, like, I don't understand why you have an issue with weight when you don't even eat that much. And so I had to get really real with myself and go, you know what? I need to own that perhaps I either have a slower metabolism or maybe I need to eat even less. And that was something that I resisted. It was something that I was angry about. And when you're angry about something, it's really hard to make a change. So I did NSNG, always that's the base. Everything is NSNG. I always say NSNG is where you start and then you can tweak it from there. I did some longer fasts at the beginning because I wanted to get myself into a deep ketosis. And then, but I also didn't want to go like full carnivore or full fasting. I didn't want to do anything to the extreme because when I've done those different experiments before, which I'm glad I've tried them all, it was untenable and felt like I was really restricting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I will always eat some vegetables. I will always have a little bit of dairy. I will always, if I want to have it's not very often, have a couple of nuts, I'll have a couple of nuts. If I want to have a Waterloo, flavored seltzer, every now and then I'm going to have one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but what I had to do was really get back in touch with that part of me that feels full. Like the moment I feel sated, stop.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's portion control, it's fasting, but everything is NSNG at the root of it. And I'm working on building muscle. I don't want to be an old frail lady with a hunched over shoulder.
Right.
I don't want that. You see glimpses of yourself aging and it's not fun. We all turn into our parents and we love our parents, but you don't want to look old like how your parents looked old. You know what I mean? And then dialing in the hormones is really hard. So I had the hysterectomy and I lost a bunch of weight right afterwards. Don't know why. And then I gained a bunch of weight really quickly right afterwards. And that's when I was like, okay, it's time to dial this in. So I can't say that it's any one thing. It's all the thing. Oh, and just really not drinking that much either. So I can't say it's any one thing. It's not like just doing NSNG. And the reason why I say this is because there are some dudes out there who will just be like, well, I don't know. I just didn't have sugars and grains for 2 days and now I'm ripped.
Right.
There's some people who respond immediately and greatly to it. And that's wonderful. And then there's people like me. And I think there's a lot of me out there.
Well, yeah. Well, you represent the whole 50-something-year-old women, menopausal.
Yeah.
You've been through it and, you've had the, what is it? The thyroid. You had a little thyroid problem.
I actually healed the thyroid stuff when 10 years ago when I fully committed to NSNG. I haven't taken a thyroid med since.
Yeah, but you've been through the ringer is what I'm saying.
I still have 2 autoimmune diseases. That hasn't gone away. I still have to manage what my body, like where I am genetically predisposed to things. I mean, I'm always going to carry, boobs and a butt. That's just like my build.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. Lauren has told me in no uncertain terms that I better stop losing the boobs. He's not a fan of that.
Well, look, that's grounds for divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I said, well, you better not lose your gallbladder. And he lost it. And that's it.
So if I were
He's out.
I'd lop those boobs right off, Anna. Show him.
No, but the reason why I say this is because I kind of just did it privately without talking about it, which is the first for me. I usually am like, okay, I'm doing this challenge and I'm going to do this. And I'm very public about it. And I was like, I need to see that I can do this because I'm at a different stage in my life. And I've had medical fuckery at the beginning of this year to try to, figure out as a woman, you always feel like, okay, I got pregnant. And then once you have the baby, you're like, I just want to get my body back. Or like, and then you hit perimenopause, you're like, I just want to let me get the hormones and I'll get my body back. And it's this feeling of like, I just want to and I have the hysterectomy. I just want to get my body back. And I'm finally at 51 realizing you don't ever get your body back. You create a new body. You have to make peace with where you are and do the best with what you have.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, I'm sure it's a similar thing. You're like, I went through chemo and I want to get my body back. But really what you're doing is building a new body based on now who you are.
And Anna, I'm glad you're talking about this because you said the thing is like, you had to make peace with, hey, I can't eat as much as other people, right?
Yeah.
I remember way back when, I looked at myself in the mirror back in New Orleans when I was 275. For that 5 minutes in my life. And I made this commitment, right? Just this great commitment. And now, folks, you got to remember, we're talking early 1980s. The name Starbucks didn't exist. And I've always been a coffee house guy, right? And I would go down a Magazine Street in New Orleans, man, these old coffee houses, these kind of bohemian places, and they would have the pastries and all this kind of stuff. And I would see everyone else saying, oh yeah, I'll get the orange cappuccino, they put the orange peels on top and the whole thing. And I'll take the croissant or give me the brioche or give me, and I remember thinking to myself, because it's a young Vinnie, right? A 21, 22-year-old Vinnie, something like that. I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. And then I would remind myself, you have a goal. And by the way, the goal was purely, I wasn't sick or anything else. I didn't have type 2 diabetes, fatty liver. I didn't know any of that. The goal was purely physical. I want to look a certain way. And I just knew if I looked a certain way, I would start feeling a certain way.
Right.
And it would hurt. Everyone else getting the almond croissant. Oh my God, those things were delicious. Like, I can't have that anymore. Everyone else can have it.
Right.
Right. And I just got used to saying, I can't have this.
Right.
Right.
And it turns from deprivation into, I'm actually caring for myself. I want my body to be a better version. And I feel so great. Yeah.
That's the thing. When feeling better, the non-scale victories, as people like to say, when you have these non-scale victories and you're feeling better, it makes it so much easier not to go eat the almond croissant, right? It becomes simple.
Yeah.
Right.
It does.
It just takes a minute to get there. I was talking to a woman who sent me a thing. She's a big fan of the show. She's got my texting information. She was like, oh, I'm at work and can I have this? And I said, no, it's got cranberries in it and raisins. What are you doing? She was like, yeah, but I got the but everyone else, they bring the tray around at work, right? And everyone else is having the pastries and this and that. I'm doing better. Your liver doesn't know that you're doing slightly better than the person that got the muffin. Right. Your liver doesn't go, oh, I'm going to give her a fake name. Hey, Janet is doing better than Louise over there. Therefore, I'm going to measure this shit she's putting in her body differently. The body doesn't work that way. If it did, I would be king of the world. Right? Yeah. Your liver is a meritocracy onto you. Right? Yeah. Your brain will fuck you up every time. Yeah. Louise is over there having the crawler. And I really wanted the crawler.
And you got to stay out of it.
But I'm going to eat this trail mix over here that's got less shit in it. Guess what? Your liver doesn't go, hey, Janet, you just ate less shit. Congratulations. I'm going to do you a favor. It doesn't work that way. And God, I wish it did. I really wish it did.
Well,
but
it's that thing where it's like, don't spend other people's money. It's like, don't spend other people's calories. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Your body's your own thing and you're only responsible for yourself. And that's, but I get it. When it started with having to give up gluten that many years ago with the celiac diagnosis, and then it evolved into quitting more things. So I understand the temper tantrum. I understand when people write me a nasty note, I'm like, oh, they're having the temper tantrum. I get it. I've been there.
Yeah.
Although I've never written anybody a nasty note because of it, but okay. It's an interesting place to be. The other thing I did is, I'm not doing, I'm going to get notes saying, well, what kind of fasting are you doing? And I don't even want to talk about it because it's not like I'm doing any specific fasting. I am just making sure that if I'm not hungry, I'm not eating. And if I am hungry, I eat and I stop when I'm sated.
I always stop before, I always tell people stop before you feel full. 10 minutes later, you're going to feel full, or 5 minutes later, your stomach will catch up.
And your stomach, I don't know what it is. My stomach has shrank for sure. It has. And I don't know what phenomenon that is, but I definitely feel fuller on less.
And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
It's a really good thing. If I feel like, listen, I'm getting my blood work done. If I feel like there's something wrong or there, you know what I mean? I'm going to address it. But right now I want to build muscle. I want to continue this journey and get my body to a point where it wants to settle in. And I don't know. I don't know what the end goal is, but I just wanted to be the best version that I could be for my book launch. And this trip was really important. I've been looking forward to this for months and I want to keep it going. I ran into, you remember Michael McCoy, Steel Bones, who listens to the show? Yeah. And he came over to the Atlanta event. He came over from South Carolina and I really appreciated it. He caught me right as we were leaving. So I'm so glad that he caught me. And he said, he was like, oh, you look so much smaller than you do on camera. And I was like, well, that's true. But I didn't say anything about why I had just lost some weight. So that's probably why it seems more shocking. But I'm also I decided years ago to appear on camera, even if it was painful for me that I wasn't at the weight that I wanted to be. For me, that was a really brave choice that I chose to do that because I wanted people to see that I'm a normal person who hosts this podcast with you and that it's not just about being a skinny ninny all the time, that you can be a real person and still have value and appear on camera with whether you're at this weight or that weight. That to me was a very important thing that I did. But yes, if you saw me in person right now, you'd probably have the reaction that Michael McCoy had, was, oh, you're much smaller than when I've seen you on camera. I was like, yeah, I am much smaller than when I was on camera, even 6 weeks ago, which I'm releasing cooking videos that I filmed 6 weeks ago. And it's that point too, where you like, oh, now it's more noticeable. Like you get to a certain point where it gets more noticeable for sure. But it's been happening for a while. I just haven't said anything.
Well, if you don't mind, we'll keep bringing it up as we go. I'd love
to, because I want people to feel like, here's the thing, breaks my heart when we lose the people because they think NSNG doesn't work. Right. And I'm like, it does work, but you might have to do some more things, but at least dial in your NSNG first and then troubleshoot from there. But it's when it's not going to work is saying, fuck it, I'm going to eat whatever I want because NSNG doesn't work. Guess what? You're fucked.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Anna, we're going to keep checking in.
I got to go talk to Robin and Scott.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they've invited me on yet.
They have invited you on when they first did it. You did it.
I did?
I haven't done it because I wanted to do it to promote the book. And then Lauren had to be taken to the hospital.
I do remember doing it. Yeah, I think I might have been their first show.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure they asked you several times.
Now they don't care about me. I'm old news. Now they got you. The new hotter Anna. That's what we're going to start calling her, hotter Anna. Folks, if you want to be hot like Anna, go get Eat Happy Italian. And don't just stop there. Go over, Anna, tell them how they can go over, because I am now
You're an investor.
I'm an investor on the Anna Vocino.
By the way, Vinnie, there's a competitor of mine and they're raising on the same platform. Yeah. And they're a plant-based company. Fine, whatever.
Fuck but that, Anna. We got you beating them, right?
I know. No, we're not.
Oh, geez.
They're $100,000 ahead of us.
Oh, folks,
And I'm just like, we have to beat them. I would never, that's so rude. I'm not even trying to compete with anybody, but I was like, come on, the vegans are so good at organizing and lifting up their own. We can do it too, guys, right?
And by the way, I didn't give the minimum. I don't know if you noticed what I gave, Anna.
Oh, I noticed.
I give the minimum because I believe in what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want to make money on this. That's the upshot.
Yeah. I want us all to make money on this.
Minimum ain't going to make me that much money. I got to put some more money in this. And by the way, I'm thinking about doing another buy-in because I'm starting to think, maybe I didn't give her enough because I really want to be a part of this. So I'm going to go back in and get you closer to those vegans.
I saw it and it just activated that little competitive spirit within me. I was like, those vegans are very organized. Surely we can be as organized as the vegans.
Yeah. Look, and folks, it's not that expensive to buy in. You want to invest in something really cool. Go check it out. Tell them where to go again, Anna.
The link, we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's at a platform called Start Engine. And it's also all over eathappykitchen.com. I have the link.
Go check out everything she's doing. Folks, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner. We have the super fan page there too. And by the way, even if you don't have a dime to give us, we can keep this going, rate and review this podcast. It doesn't cost you anything. And I was going to play Switchblade Knife or Six-Blade Knife by Dire Straits, but something else came to mind after that. So on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living. And since Anna is changing, we're going to play this song called...
And also Under Investigation.
And Under Investigation. So Anna might be in prison the next time.
Yeah.
You might need a six-blade knife, but we're going to do this song by David Bowie on behalf of Anna Vocino. My name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with one Mr. David Bowie.